What does it mean to be really rich? Does it mean you have $1 million in the bank? Would it mean getting enough money saved up to never need to work again? If you asked 100 different people what it means to be rich, they might all tell you something different. But if you ask people who have had a lot of money for a long time, they will give you a completely different answer. You see, everyone wants to be wealthy, but not many people know how to get there. Contrary to what most people think, you don't need a lot of money to start getting rich. In fact, many of the richest people in the world started out with very little. So, what are they hiding? In this video, I'll take you to the shocking money truth that only rich people know. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that little notification bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our video updates. Plus, it helps us spread the Thrive Wise love to help more people thrive wisely. Now, let's begin. Here's a little story about my friend Jake. When he was younger, he thought having $1 million in cash made a person rich. Yes, this is a lot of money, but as he got older, he realized that $1 million weren't as much as he thought it would be, considering how much it costs each year to buy a car, a house, food, and other necessities. Also, as he started making more money, he started to think about what it meant to be rich in a different way. Since he was always working, he started to think that being rich meant having more time and freedom and less about making a lot of money. At this point in his career, he did some research to find out if making more money would make him happy in the future or if there was a good balance between being financially secure and being happy. Happiness, income satiation, and turning points around the world was the name of a study he read and stumbled upon. The study is a large analysis that was published in the journal Nature Human Behavior. They used information from the Gallup World Poll, which got answers from a total of 1.7 million people in over 150 countries. The study found that the best income for a person is $95,000 a year to be happy with their lives, and between $60,000 and $75,000 a year to be emotionally healthy. Families with kids would need more, but that wasn't taken into account in the study. This study and others have shown that earning more than these amounts don't make a person's life any better or happier. I think the right number depends on where you live and what makes you happy in life. For example, in some parts of Northern California, if you make less than $117,000, you are considered to have a low income. In other parts of the country, that amount of money would let you live like a king or queen. On the other hand, if you always need to have the newest designer clothes and the most up-to-date gadgets, you won't be happy living on a lower income. On the other hand, if you enjoy the simplicity of living a minimalist lifestyle, you will be happy living within your means. All of this information from my friend helped me figure out the truth about wealth. But it wasn't until I heard the story of another friend, Brent, and how he moved through the 5 levels of wealth that I realized how the rich think about being actually wealthy. If you haven't heard about it, then you've come to the right place. But before that, I would like you to do something for me. Pause this video right now, yes, right now, please, and do me a huge favor by hitting the like button and click subscribe if you are new. If you did, you're awesome, and thank you so much for your support. And going back, where were we? Oh, the story of Brent and the 5 levels of wealth. Brent got his bachelor's degree in business from college at age 22 and got a job as a staff accountant at a public accounting firm in Toronto. Even though Brent was only making $50,000 at a time, he had enough money every month to pay his rent, buy food, and pay his bills. And because he was a cheap guy, he was still able to save a little money for his retirement. Brent was on level 1 of wealth in his first few years of work. At the first level of wealth, you don't have to worry about having a place to sleep or food to eat every day. If you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know that Brent had met his physiological needs for food and a place to live. After a few years of working at the company, Brent got his CPA and was promoted to an entry-level management position. He was now making $80,000 a year. Brent got a promotion around the same time he paid off the rest of his student loans, which weren't that big to begin with because he had gotten so many scholarships. Brent moved up to the 2nd level of wealth when he paid off his debt and no longer had to worry about consumer debt. On level 2 of wealth, you don't have to worry about debt. Since Brent no longer had any debt, he could move on into this group. 10 years later, Brent is now the controller of a medium-sized Toronto construction company. Brent's income has gone up a lot since he started working, and he now makes $200,000 a year. Brent still lives a cheap life though, similar to how he did when he first started his career. However, he doesn't mind spending money on nice evenings out with his wife. When he goes out, he doesn't even need a menu because he doesn't care about how much the meal costs. Brent decides what to eat based on what he wants to eat, not because he wants to save money. Now, this doesn't mean that Brent thinks this way about everything in his life. He and his wife live in a small house and share a used car. However, when it comes to going out to eat, Brent doesn't mind if he has to stretch his budget a little. And going out to dinner isn't something you do every night. Still, they do this once or twice a month as a treat. Level 3 of wealth is being able to spend money. At the third level of wealth, you don't have to be as careful with your money in a few areas of your life. For Brent, this was eating out and going to the movies. For others, it could be electronics, clothes, or other relatively low-priced services or items. Brent kept moving up the corporate ladder at the construction firm where he worked as his career moved forward. After all of his hard work, Brent was promoted to CFO and started making $700,000 a year. But with his high salary came with a lot of stress. And one way Brent dealt with all of his obligations of his job was by taking regular vacations. At this point in his life, Brent was lucky enough to be able to go on vacations anywhere with his wife. He could go to Europe for a few weeks or go to Bali to enjoy the nice weather. Brent had reached the 4th level of wealth and no longer had to worry about big ticket costs. Brent didn't have much trouble paying for a 2-week trip that cost $20,000, especially since his wife also worked and their household income was quite high. Brent can stay in the nicest hotels and fly first class, but as a thrifty accountant, he still looks for deals. Even though he doesn't have to. He can do whatever he wants because it's all up to him. People in the next to last level of wealth may have different spending habits. They might prefer spending their money on expensive watches or cars, and when you have this much money, it doesn't matter how much your expenses cost. You buy things because you want to, not because how much they cost. You can spend whatever you want. Brent kept making more money over the next 30 years of his career, not only because he became a co-owner of the construction company where he worked, but also because he invested a lot of money throughout his life. When Brent retired, he and his wife had a combined net worth of $20 million. At this point, Brent had everything he could ever wanted and had been on vacations anywhere in the world. But Brent still wasn't happy with his money and wanted to use it in other ways that would be more useful. This is how Brent found out about the Giving Pledge Project. According to their website, the Giving Pledge Project is a promise by the wealthiest people and families in the world to give away most of their money. It was started by Warren Buffett, Bill and Melinda Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Michael Bloomberg, Richard Branson, and George Lucas. As soon as Brent saw how giving back could help him, he knew he had to include it in his plans for the future. Brent came up with a plan to leave half of his money with his kids and the other half to help developing countries get clean water. As Brent started to use it to help other people get rich, he started to feel a sense of fulfillment that a new car or a trip to a new city couldn't give him. This is the 5th and final level of wealth. At this level, you could give back in big ways. For Brent, this meant using a big chunk of his money to help people in less fortunate parts of the world. So, you may be wondering, how can you move up the 5 levels of wealth in your own life? In most cases, you need to make more money and save as much as you can, just like Brent did. Sad to say, a lot of people put a lot of effort into the saving part of this equation, but they still can't figure out how to make more money. There are actually many ways to make more money, like asking for a raise at work or getting a second job. I've gotten rich by making myself more valuable at my 9-to-5 job, running online businesses, and working a side hustle. Most people find it scary to start their own business as a way to make more money, but a side job can be a great way to make a few extra bucks. Well, that's basically the shocking money truth that only rich people know. And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And hey, it seems that YouTube thinks that the next video can completely transform your financial situation. Watch it to find out whether they're correct. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button to see more videos on how to thrive wisely. Till next time.